guys, and welcome back to my channel where all we do is sleep, eat and repeat. Basically today we're reading Let's Not Meet Reddit stories. I actually have one of my own that was rejected. I didn't follow the rules apparently, so I'm gonna read that first. This is posted by Rapline Please. And it's called Don't Hook Up with the Waiter. Sorry in advance. I was drunk most of the time during what happened, so I don't remember every detail. When I was 18 and freshly broken up with my way older boyfriend. Wait, what? When I was 18 and freshly broken up with my way older boyfriend, I basically went crazy with dating guys. At the time, I also dressed very goth, even going as far as to wear a real corset and trench coat, mostly just enjoying the attention. One particular afternoon, my friend / roommate at the time decided to eat at a local Japanese restaurant with both of us all dressed up. Our waiter was a mediocre, skinny white guy who was clearly a little alternative, but it was hard to tell really with the uniform. We joked about me leaving my phone number on the receipt or something, so I hyped myself up and did so. Late that night, he had sent me a text. We talked for a few days, never really having a right time to meet up as I worked 40 minutes away from where I lived. He mentioned the boots he wore meant a lot to him, and some other odd things that just seemed like edgy jokes. One really late night, coming home, I was texting and driving, as any 18-year-old does, and we decided to meet up. My stupid self invited him over to my apartment, where it was just me and the roommate who had been with me before. Our other two roommates were not home. At first, it was fine because I was already drunk, so I would just let him rant about whatever he wanted. He went on about his life, going to jail, medical bills, his parents, etc. Eventually, he asked me if I wanted to see his tattoos, and I was like, okay. He lifted up his shirt, and not only could I see the handgun tucked in his waistband, but also his multiple badly covered up Nazi tattoos. One was even just slightly covered with a banana. I don't know what it was, but I simply decided the best way to deal with this situation was to appease him, so I went along with it casually. I don't remember exactly every detail because it was over 2 years ago and I was drunk, but he ended up pulling his gun out and putting it to my head, asking me if I was scared. I was immensely confused and tried to call his bluff, saying I wasn't, which got him to put it away for a while. When we went to hook up in my messy ass room, he pulled it on me again, saying he wanted to do it with it out. I got mad and tried to fight him off me and get it away from my head. Of course, I wasn't as strong as him, and he hit me in the arm with it, which that shit hurt because it was a nice one. When I finally got him off me and he realised I was pissed, not scared, he started acting like a crackhead. saying I was crazy for not caring about him pulling a gun on me. He ran off, jumping the fence of my apartment complex and not even taking his car that he had came in. In the morning, his car was gone and I had a large bruise from where he had hit me. While to me, it is a funny story, I now realise how bad it could have ended up. So to the waiter from the Japanese restaurant, Letsnotmeet. Wow. I have no words. I mean, obviously, if that was me, I actually would have been shocked, because if he has a Nazi tattoo, then he hates the likes of me. So, wow. This next one is called Enraged Meth Head Threatens My Life at Gas Pump Over Delusional Priority Access. Today, I casually went out to the gas station with the best price, and I luckily found a spot in the perfect time. Apparently though, another not so gentle man thought that he was entitled to that spot. He starts flipping out on me and threatening to kill me and beat my ears. I smiled, continued pumping, trying to screen him out. He then raised a fit about how he had priority over me because of the type of fuel. Diesel got up in my face, threatened to beat my ass, so I pointed the gasoline nozzle at him and replied, naturally, cursing like a sailor, "Get the fuck away from me and my car, or I'll give you some free gas in your face." He tried following me home too, but I know the back roads too well, and I have a turbo, whatever that car is. I was able to lose him. Called Man Claimed He Was From the Police. This is a story that pops back up in my mind from time to time. I've only told it to a few people, but I definitely feel like it deserves its place in here. It's for sure one of the scariest moments I've ever had as a child. Back when I was around 10 years old, my mum finally decided it was time for her to start taking her driver's license. When she began taking lessons, she was struggling a lot. For that reason, my dad decided he wanted to do some practice with her besides the official driving lessons with her instructor, just to make sure that she passed her upcoming test first try. My little brother and I were attending swimming lessons at this nearby university at the time. Behind a forested area near the university lays this huge student parking area surrounded by trees, which turned out to basically be empty every weekend. My dad saw the opportunity to take my mum here to drive around, and brought my little brother and I with them since we were too young to stay home alone. We brought a football with us. When we arrived at the parking lot later on in the evening, my parents began their practice. My little brother and I quickly got bored though and asked if we could go over to this little grass field on the side of the parking lot to play some football. My parents let us, since they'd always be able to keep their eyes on us whilst driving around. After playing for some time, my parents ended up driving around in the other end of the parking lot. They were approximately 300 to 400 meters away from my brother and I. Suddenly, this white Toyota pulls up in the parking lot. We were playing almost right at the exit/entrance. That's dangerous. The car turns around and stops on my right side with a vehicle facing the exit. The driver rolls down his windows and presents himself as Thomas. He looked friendly, was good looking and young. I guess he'd be around 30. This is where things started to get weird. On the passenger seat was a woman covering her face with a newspaper. All I could see was long blonde hair. And on the back seat was a baby sat in a baby chair. Thomas immediately states that he's from police and that we have to get in the car immediately as he has to talk to us. My brother actually took 2 steps towards the vehicle, but I stuck my arm out in front of his chest as I was sensing something was off. The woman was still covering her face at this point, not saying a word. Thomas then raised his voice and told us once again to get in the car or else he'd have to come out and get us. My brother and I froze out of fear. Suddenly, the woman put down the newspaper, showed her face, and told us in the most calm, motherly voice just to listen to the man. The woman looked young, pretty, and like a person who wouldn't hurt a fly. At this moment, I began screaming as loud as I could. What we hadn't seen at this point was my dad was already running as fast as he could towards us. He was coming from behind the vehicle, so we didn't see it. My parents didn't have time to drive to us since the road down the parking lot was twisted all the way. My dad heard my scream. He started yelling as loud as he could. "Hey, who the F are you? Get the F away from my children." As soon as Thomas heard my dad and realised my brother and I weren't alone, he threw his car into gear and took off as fast as he could. He most definitely looked like a person who shat himself when he saw my dad. My dad was furious and told my brother and I to hurry back to the car. He didn't even think about calling the police at this point. He wanted to beat the guy up himself. This resulted in us driving around for the next hour just trying to find him before my dad cooled down and decided that he should just probably call the police. We never found out who those people were, but this episode taught me to never judge a book by its cover. People can be the most friendly looking people in the world and still wish evil upon you or the ones that you love. I'm not sure what these people would have done to us. I'm sure about one thing though, they definitely weren't from the police. That was an attempted kidnapping. That was an attempted kidnapping, honey. So that's all I'm going to do for today because my whisper is bad, so I had to soft speak for the entire video. I hope it wasn't too loud or abrupt because I can't hear myself. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. I'll see you whenever I see you. Okay? Okay.